Okay, so I'm going to be exposing yet another racist piece of shit, although in this case it is a weeb who is throwing stones when they live in a glass house. So let's read this juvenile, attempting to be fence sitting, but actually a passive racist kind of comment. So this guy's name is Nadarith, which is a fucking stupid ass name. Saying, holy fucking shit, 200 plus comments made by 5 people engaging in an endless circle of wasted effort, all of which have at least one hole in their reasoning. So initially, this weeboo is trying to do fence sitting, which is the oldest trick in the book. You know, trying to sound measured and responsible and reasonable by invoking a fallacy called an appeal to moderation fallacy. It's a very, very trite kind of fallacy where they try to sound like more reasonable than they actually are. And the reason why it's a fallacy is because it's assuming incorrectly that neither side is correct, but the truth is somewhere in the middle, which is incorrect, of course. But then this weeboo racist piece of shit takes a shot at me, saying that the instigator is into complete hysterics, thinking everything is racist and everyone is alt accounts and pretty much insane. Um, well, besides that being horribly worded and the English just being like a complete mess, um, this weeboo is taking a shot at me. But since they're such a coward, they can't directly address me or any of my arguments. Instead, they spout a juvenile kind of platitude in my direction, and of course I picked up on it, and I wasn't gonna let that go. And then comes the passive racism, where this weeboo, this bottom dwelling, scum sucking piece of shit, actually defends the initial racist comment in the first place. All over a dark humor joke that isn't even particularly edgy. And of course, this idiot doesn't even know how to spell edgy correctly, even after they edit their comment, which is which is quite pathetic. Okay. The initial comment was a racist comment. Okay, I already posted it. You can go back to the previous video to look at that racist comment. It was not funny. It was a bad attempt at humor, I guess, but it was making a racist joke that was screaming, you know, from from the alt right, from the anti SJW movement. But this racist denigrates that racist remark as a dark humor joke and then further denigrates it as not particularly edgy, which I think is extremely suspicious, especially considering that the Canadian fucker, that the racist that I exposed in the last video, posted a comment and posted several comments not long afterwards. Um, and then blah blah blah. This weeboo just starts babbling like an idiot. Um, at the time, I just didn't really think much of it, and I just called it out for being the weeboo piece of shit that it is, and I kind of gave it like a fair warning: don't throw stones when you live in a glass house. So my philosophy is pretty simple, okay? If you're going to post racist garbage, or take a side in a racial issue, in a racism issue, and you take a side against the anti-racists, then all bets are off. So I don't care who you are. Okay. Normally, I respect any human being as long as they're a decent human being. But once you start saying racist garbage or take a side against the side fighting against racism, then you aren't safe. I will attack you in any way possible, and I will hit you in all of your weak places. And then you're going to start crying like the hypocritical bitch that you are, but that's what you get when you take a side against anti racism. And so let's see how the weeboo responds to my gentle warning. So immediately the weeboo cries and makes it a perpetual victim here, saying my comment was wasn't an invitation for you to try and drag me into your theatrics of paranoia and immaturity. So immediately, this weeboo projects and deflects. Um, guess who? Guess who dragged themselves into this? The weeboo. The weeboo got so butthurt, so triggered that it interjected its own self into this milieu. But then, of course, just like all racist pieces of shit, they try to make themselves the victim. Theatrics of paranoia and immaturity. No, not at all. Not in the slightest. It's pretty clear that Canadian guy was using multiple fake accounts, and in fact, this might very well be a fake account too, which I will show some evidence of that later. Uh, blah blah blah. But it's good to know you're one of those kids that call people weebs based on avatars alone. Now, notice the hypocrisy. Immediately tries to pretend that they're a victim and then invokes ageism, accusing me of being a kid, even though this weeb watches cartoons. No, you're not going to make yourself the perpetual victim here. If you're going to have a childish, stupid anime avatar, yes, I'm going to kick you in the nuts if you say racist, stupid shit, or if you defend racist, stupid shit. The fact that someone so shallow and simple, again, deflecting their own negative traits onto others, that can judge people based upon a single outward characteristic, then reduce their entire person and all inherent complexities that have an individual to a simple insulting label, can even talk about being against racism in all his comments, is just hilarious. It's the exact same mechanism racists use to justify their beliefs after all. So this is an interesting hypocritical comment. Someone so shallow and simple. Yeah, that describes you very well, Weeboo. Now it seems like this idiot is so triggered over me calling it a weeboo, but yet it no, remember what it did before. It denigrated and minimized a abhorrent racist comment, and then immediately takes offense to being called a weeboo. I'm sorry, weeboo. But in the real world, racism is far, far worse than being called a weeboo, you stupid fucking piece of shit. You fucking hypocritical moron. But yet, to the weeboo, being called a weeboo is an unthinkable, horrible thing to say. So shallow and simple. Yeah, like you. Okay, if you're gonna defend racism, I'm gonna call you a weeboo. Just like if you like My Little Pony, I'm going to make fun of the fact that you're a brony. But that said, I don't normally have a beef with any of these people. Okay? But if you're going to throw stones and you live in a glass house, I'm going to shatter your glass house. You don't get any special protection when you're a racist. I'm going to kick you in the nuts if you're a racist. You just confirm my perception I had about you. I'm pretty sure you were taking shots, and you were defending a racist right from the start. So you revealed your own bias immediately. Blah blah blah, and then it it tries to say this is the only significant reply you will provoke from me here. Don't expect much further effort, as I expect it would be wasted. And of course, it's lying because it's a petulant, raging child. Um, because I immediately I posted a comment, but it got dinged. And YouTube, they routinely, censor comments automatically, like through a filter. So the only comment that actually got posted was me just kind of making fun of this weeboo, you know, saying, "Please continue making yourself a perpetual victim. I enjoy laughing at you, rage weeb." Of course, I'm eating my popcorn while I'm laughing at this weeboo yelling and screaming and making it a perpetual victim. And of course, sure enough, the weeboo responds. Even though it said in the very last comment that it wasn't going to respond anymore. But yet, since it's such a triggered, angry, hypocritical, projecting, racist weeb, couldn't help but reply with a petulant quip that it stole. It didn't. It's not even smart enough to think of its own quips because these are all quips you can Google. There's like a website that this loser actually steals its insults from. That's how pathetic this moron is. So let's take a look at this loser's channel real quick. So, of course, just like all other racist scumbags, they don't have any content on their YouTube channel. It's empty completely. That's because they make lots and lots of accounts and they hide behind them. They're keyboard warriors, so they hide behind their keyboard and anonymity. Um, but we can check the join date, and it's November 7th, 2020, so not that long ago. So that's very suspicious. It's entirely possible that this is the previous racist scumbag that I exposed. Could be someone different, but I do find it highly suspicious given the join date and the fact that the channel is empty. But anyway, that's all we got for today, exposing yet another racist scumbag, in this case, a juvenile weeb that lives in its parents' basement, his face covered in acne, has no job and no higher education to speak of because it is a racist loser. Have a good one, guys.